Monday, and welcome to the TNC Sports Talk. My name is Justin. Today is February 23rd of 2026. We are live on our Facebook page and our TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Welcome in, welcome in. And it's been a while, hasn't it, since we have last been live on our streaming devices. But here we are. And let me kind of walk you through the whereabouts and this upcoming reasoning on why we are live. So, for those who have been listening to us on our audio platforms or on our YouTube channel for the last several weeks, we normally drop our episode down on a Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. And I would record live, and I will record my episode, and then I would upload it for 7 o'clock. Well, one of the problems I ran into was recording it earlier in the day, where I would talk about news and events and current stuff, and then as soon as I got done recording, I would have breaking news reveal afterwards, and then I would upload the episode, and I couldn't really change anything. So it was kind of deceiving, so to speak, because I would get the episode done. We would talk about, for example, the Suarez deal. We would talk about it, weigh in our opinions, and then we would go, once we're done recording, I'll look online, and next you know, the deal was already completed, and then I couldn't go back in my episode and adjust. So that was one of my conundrums I dealt with. And then on top of that, as we talk about the Cincinnati Reds this season, it's, releasing at 7 doesn't really quite make sense to how I'm covering the Cincinnati Reds. I would end up either talking about the day before, after, and then getting you guys ready for a nighttime game where the game is already taken place, or I would have 2 games complete and I wouldn't watch the second one because the time we record it happens earlier in the day. So we are going live again and going to see how it goes. And I appreciate everyone's support in doing so. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. We are broadcasting from our luxury home here, and it's an apartment. And there's only 2 things that will kind of ruin all this throughout the weeks. One is weather. Out here, kind of snowed last night, and I wasn't ready for the snow, to be honest. I thought it was going to snow throughout the day, and then we got another hit at night, and we woke up this morning and just a nice little sleet of snow on the ground. Nothing too terrible. But the second thing that would also prevent this, so the first one is weather. Okay, weather would cause us, internet service or whatnot, and that would keep us from going live. The other one would be any maintenance. So, live in an apartment, anything that we have to get maintenance called upon, they have to show up, and when they show up, it does kind of maybe alter. So, if I'm not able to do a live at noon, we will do a recording early in the morning and then post it for a live depending on how the weather goes. But I will rest assured that there is an episode Monday through Fridays at noon, whether it's on here or whether you guys can listen to it on our audio platforms. For those who are listening to us on our audio platforms, you guys could check us out immediately following our show, And yeah, just you could take us with you wherever you guys go. But hopefully everyone had themselves a good weekend. I know I did. Got a chance to watch a little bit of Bearcats game as they split the series with UAB. I tuned into the Bearcats game and it's Bearcats baseball. They were taking on UAB down in Birmingham earlier this past weekend, and kind of tuned into Friday's game, and it was a close game. Bearcats were losing. Tuned out of it about probably the eighth inning. I was like, I had enough. Doesn't feel like this is going to be how the score ends. And come to find out that they tackled on a whole bunch of more runs as the Bearcats lost 11-12 on Thursday. They also lost 3-8 on Friday. They picked up the victory 8-4 on Sunday, and then I tuned into about half the game on Sunday, 8-6. They won that game, so they split the series, and it was a good weekend. And now they're waiting to come home to take on Bowling Green this Tuesday home opener. So we'll talk about that here coming up here in this episode. But got a chance to go out to my daughter's basketball game on Saturday morning. Then I took the kids out to the Cincinnati Museum, let them run their little heads off, went grocery shopping on right afterwards, came home, went out to eat with the family, came home on Sunday, just relaxed and watched a little bit of Reds baseball. Spring training's back in action, and I got a chance to watch a little bit of baseball on the MLB TV. Now, one thing that I will be doing heading into this season is getting the Reds TV deal. I think the subscription right now is still about $100, but I'm planning on getting that so we can tune into Reds baseball all year long. I am thrilled about Reds baseball this year. Hope you guys are too. But going to get a chance to get that subscription this year because I don't like the out of market stuff. So I love MLB TV. I'll tell you that. I have T-Mobile as a phone subscription, so I am watching out of market games. So the Padres, the Dodgers, the Red Sox, the Yankees, anything that's not aired either on local television or it's not in market, I could watch, which is fine by me because it's more baseball. I can never get enough of baseball. But one thing that I struggle with the MLB TV deal that T-Mobile has compared with Major League Baseball is that you don't get the out-of-market games or the in-market games. So you don't get any Reds baseball. As a matter of fact, the only Reds baseball that I got last year was either watching it on TV or, going out of town far enough where I did qualify to get it because it was considered out of market. I know my family and I took a trip down to Tennessee last year, so it was like a good little nice weekend because we got the games, and I was watching some baseball. But I got to cover all the resources, so I got to get the Reds baseball this year. The wife was talking to me last year. One of the problems she had, she was always like, "When's the Reds playing? When's the Reds playing next?" Well, they're not really quite playing next. And they are, but we don't get them. So unfortunately, that was the issue we had. But we'll get all that sorted out. All right. So on today's agenda, we're going to recap the Cincinnati Reds. They got a day off today. They had a weird 2-game weekend. They took on the Guardians. Then they took on the Mariners, 2 games on Saturday and Sunday. They end up losing both of them. And we'll cover some Reds baseball here over the weekend. Get you guys ready for what's to come later on this week. Also, we'll recap Cincinnati Bearcats as baseball and basketball took place over the weekend. So we'll kind of cover that for you. And they'll also recap a little bit of SmackDown, get you guys ready for Monday Night Raw tonight, which, by the way, from my indication, Liv Morgan is expected to reveal who she is going to face at WrestleMania 42 this year. We are just days away from Elimination Chamber. And the men and women's Elimination Chamber matches will indicate who's going to challenge the other champion. We already know Roman Reigns is facing CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. We are hopeful to learn about who Liv Morgan is going to choose to face at this year's WrestleMania. And then the winners of the Elimination Chamber matches will go on to WrestleMania and face the opposing champion. So we will learn a little bit more about that, and we'll talk about that tonight as Raw gets set on Netflix later on tonight. But let's talk some Reds baseball. Now, the Cincinnati Reds. I got to remind myself that this is spring training. It doesn't matter if you win or if you lose. It doesn't matter what really happens. It matters who's going to make opening day roster. And although it is a more apparent of who's going to more likely be on the team come opening day, it's still good to see, especially early on, who is down in our farm system, who is working their way up to possibly replacing some of these guys. Because, quite frankly, we're only an injury or two away from seeing a Blake Dunn or I don't know, who else do you have on this list? A Blake Dunn, Michael Toglia, and Edwin Arroyo, so to speak. So it's important that we just remember that for spring training, we can support. It's good to see the starters, Suarez out there. It's good to see the Tyler Stevenson and Benson and Stewart and Nathaniel Lowe and Ellie Dela Cruz, Matt McClain out there early on. But right now, especially early on, as we're in the back end of February, as we approach into March, it's important that we remember it's time for a lot of these younger guys. So don't expect a whole lot out of your anticipated starters. And on Saturday, we got a chance to see a glimpse of what the battle will look like as we are probably trying to figure out who's going to take up the fifth spot in the rotation. Let's face it, if we're healthy, we'll see Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, we'll see Brady Singer, and Andrew Abbott. I believe that those are certainly set in place. But the fifth spot's open and up for grabs. And we saw on Saturday as Terry Francona sent out Chase Burns, Rhett Lauder, and Julian Aguirre to the plate or to the mound on Saturday. All three of them pitched 2 innings each. Burns, he threw 32 pitches. 15 of them went for strikes. He didn't allow a hit. He didn't allow a run. He walked 3 batters. He struck out 2 batters in his outing. And then Rhett Lauder came up. Rhett pitched 2 innings. He gave up 2 hits, allowed 1 run. He walked 1 batter, struck out 4 of them, threw 23 strikes out of 37 pitches. And Aguirre, probably one of the guys on the bottom of this competition list here, pitched 2 innings, gave up 2 hits, 1 run, allowed 1 walk, and struck out 2 batters as well. And the only person you kind of miss in this list is Brandon Williamson. But when you look at those numbers and you're looking at competition, before this game, I would be reluctant to say that Chase Burns kind of fits in that role just, pre-concept, right? I would say that if you asked me on February 20th who was going to be the fifth guy, I would predict that Chase Burns would be the fifth guy. Well, although Rhett Lauder gave up 2 hits and allowed 1 run, he only walked 1 batter, which I thought was impressive, but he struck out 4, and I look at that number. So the outs, he kept it within the pitching realm, and I like that. I say a little, I understand this is the first outing. It's spring training. Let's not really worry too much about these things, but 3 walks, man, it kind of gets you. And Terry Francona has a lot to be cautious about. How much trust are we putting on these guys? How much are we willing to allow them to go? Are we wanting them to go, push through 2 to 3 innings, or are we going to be safe about this? And he felt pretty confident, and Chase Burns was also able to bounce back. So although he put himself in some situations and he was able to prove that he was able to get out of it. And so I still like Chase Burns currently as our 5th guy in the rotation. And I know this was only 1 outing, but it was surely impressive enough. A notable of the game, Will Benson hitting that dynamite home run out to right field early on. It was 389 feet, 108 exit velocity. Wow. And, that's what we need. That's what I want. Someone on top of Suarez. Someone that can fit in your everyday lineup, that could help out and bring the willpower of the at-bat. One of the things that I've noticed that really catches my attention, that kind of I throw up some red flags, is, where is our power to our lineup? And Benson, he's a hit or miss squad. I like to see a little bit more consistency out of him. But, there's conversations of him competing with J.J. Bleday as the final spot coming off the bench. I would like to see him fight for an everyday spot on that lineup. Let's look at the lineup real quick. On Saturday, when they released the lineup, I was pretty kind of intrigued to see how it was put together. Tyler Stevenson was leading off. Suarez was playing third base. Benson was batting third. Sal Stewart was playing second, batting cleanup. Marte out there in right field. Nathaniel Lowe out there in first base. Dane Myers playing center. Michael Toglia was a DH. And then we had Edwin Arroyo as well playing shortstop. So we didn't see Ellie De La Cruz, but Tyler Stevenson leading off. He went 1 for 3 in his outings. And so I thought that was quite interesting. I didn't expect Stevenson to lead off. I didn't expect Suarez to bat second. I kind of figured that this was to get these guys as much plate appearances as possible and get them in, get them out as early as possible so they could go work on some other things. So, but it's going to be interesting, in my opinion, to see how Terry Francona utilizes this lineup to its fullest. One thing we'll be paying attention this year is the ABS challenge that has been brought back from last spring. They will be carrying that over into the regular season. Sal Stewart threw out a challenge on Saturday for a called strike, which was overturned. And then on Sunday, the Reds were taking on the Mariners. It was all the Reds throughout majority of the game, but it was one thing after another with when Lyon Richardson came into play, as he allowed 2 runs, and then Zach Maxwell allowed a run, and then Luis May came in and gave up 4 runs on 5 hits, only walked a batter. And that bullpen kind of just let the game get out of hand. The Reds, who were once leading 8-3, ended up losing 14-8 in yesterday's outing. J.J. Bleday in the second had a double going out to center field. T.J. Friedel had a single going out to center field as well. Matt McLean had a ground rule double going out to center field. So the bats were going for this starting lineup. T.J. Friedel came back with the sacrifice fly. Ellie De La Cruz had that double out to left field to extend their lead early on. But once they got down to the bullpen, it really just kind of went south from there. Luis May gets the loss. Zach Maxwell gets the blown save. And I guess what you would call a crooked game by all means. Maxwell and May, you're just trying to, I would say, get some work in, trying to keep things tamed. And sure, I'm not expecting anyone to be perfect. It's the first couple of games, but when things like these where you let the game get out of hands, it was once in your control. It's etched into my mind of how they really played throughout the course of last year. Leads that we had ended up being forgotten into losses because we gave up so many runs thanks to our bullpen. Jose Franco had pitched 1 inning, gave up 3 hits, 1 run, struck out 3 batters. Graham Ashcraft had his first outing of spring training, only pitched an inning, walked 1 batter, struck out 2. Brock Burt, seeing him for the first time in the Reds uniform, gave up 2 hits and only allowed a run and struck out 2 batters. TJ Antone also had a pretty good outing, having 1 strikeout. Yesterday's lineup seemed a little bit more, I guess, my cup of tea, right? How I would almost envision this lineup to be. TJ Friedel led things off. Matt McLean, Ellie De La Cruz was in that lineup, batting third. Suarez was the DH. Spencer Steer, Jose Trevino, Hayes was in there, J.J. Bleday, and Reese Hines. Overall, this Reds team, like I said, we don't look at the score. We look at these performances. And, the guys that we are anticipating to make opening day lineups, we want to see them get ready and perform and be adequate. And so that's what we are initiating out of spring training. There's different sections throughout a spring training game that I think it's worth notating and keeping an eye out and focusing. So you're going to have those fans who want to see your starters, your major league roster ready guys. They come in, they start the game. They get 4 or 5 innings right now over the next week, maybe 2. And then they get their at-bats, and then they get taken out of the game, and either they probably leave the facility and go on and do some other assignments. So you tune in maybe throughout the first couple innings to catch those guys, right? And then you get your secondary guys to come in. Whoever's replacing those guys on the field, they come in, and now you see maybe position battles, right? Talk about outfield, Will Benson, J.J. Bleday, Marte, Blake Dunn is, out there in the conversation. Tyler Callahan, for example. And, every opportunity they are given, whether it's a start, whether it's coming off the bench, they have to utilize it because some of them are battling for a position on the opening day roster early on. And don't get me wrong, February's 22nd game is just as noticeable as March 22nd game. So we are paying attention to what they are doing now and how they are, presenting themselves at every at bat, whether they're getting on base, striking out. I don't care what they do, but are they making good decisions at bat, or on the field? I think it was Hector Rodriguez on, I want to say it was Saturday. And he's this young up and coming prospect, a lot of potential. And you wouldn't have noticed it in Saturday's ball game because there was misdirections all over the place out there in the field. And you have to have a really short, narrow mind in this. But then we get to the bullpen, right? We have our competition on the, in our rotation. We have our competition at the back end of the bullpen to say, we haven't even seen Pierce Johnson or Caleb Ferguson yet. So, we get to early in the game and those assignments, who we're going to see, what, how they're going to pitch those innings or two. And it's going to be sporadic throughout the game. Zach Maxwell yesterday, Luis May, probably two guys that may not be right now a consideration for opening day roster, but they get their work in. And this is a good example. Luis May, now, hey, you get this opening day start out of the way, you move on, and you are able to now maybe tune back into your craft, and hopefully your next outing is better. But you want a good outing. You want to encourage to have a 0-run, 0-hit outing if you are a bullpen guy, because you're going to get only so many of them. And what you see in live action games is what's going to matter the most. Overall, though, it was fun just watching these Reds play. It was fun seeing the guys back out at the field. It's great to watch Ellie De La Cruz, to see Suarez at third and the DH as well, to see Sal Stewart playing second base. These are all questions that we are asking ourselves, and how they're going to put together when it comes to the regular season. And Sal Stewart may be a player that's coming off the bench. He may be asked, hey, I need you to come off the bench and play second, play first, maybe play third. So spring training's the time for that. So they're off today. The Reds come back at it, I believe tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. 3:05 first pitch Eastern Standard Time against the Kansas City Royals. Michael Walker will be on the mound for the Royals as of right now, and Andrew Abbott is being advertised for the Cincinnati Reds. So we'll get a nice, good starter again tomorrow. It'll be interesting to see what the lineup holds for the Reds. So hopefully that lineup gets released before we get into the game tomorrow at noon. But that is what our Reds highlights are going to be as spring training officially underway. What are you guys looking forward towards this year in spring training? Who do you guys have making these final cuts, early on? But all right, want to just give a shout out to Riverside FM for Riverside.com. It is our streaming service studio that allows us to go live or have any recordings for upcoming shows, events, and whatnot we do here on our channel. You guys can check them out as Riverside.com. And if you guys are looking to create your own podcast, I love Riverside. It was one of the options I decided to go with when returning back to podcasting, because Riverside also allows me to pull instantly magic clips that I could use for shorts, for descriptions, for posts, and so much more. So check out Riverside.com. Maybe start your own podcast, and it's a great platform to use. That's how we're streaming here on our YouTube and Facebook page. All right, Cincinnati Bearcats had a busy week in baseball. As I mentioned at the beginning of the program, they had a 4-game series out there in Birmingham, Alabama, taking on UAB. They split the series 2 games apiece. They lost both Thursday and Friday, and they came back to win Saturday and Sunday. They will have their home opener this Tuesday, tomorrow night, or tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. It will be available on ESPN, or you could head out to the stadium and check out the Bearcats baseball. They are interplay this Tuesday with a 5-3 record. The Cincinnati Bearcats basketball had a impressive victory back on Saturday after they beat ranked number 9, Kansas. They beat them 84-68. They moved to 15-12 overall, a 7-7 conference record. They pushed Kansas back to a 20-7 record and a 10-4 conference record out of their conference. And Cincinnati picks up the first win in Allen Fieldhouse since the 64-49 victory back in December 19th, 1962. The Cincinnati Bearcats have not won at the Allen Fieldhouse since 1962. Now, that may be a long time, but honestly, how often are they facing Kansas? This is the first time that Kansas lost at home at the Allen Fieldhouse to an unranked team by double digits since Long Beach back in January 25th, 1996. They lost to Long Beach 64-49 in that game. And think about that. That's 425 games since Kansas Jethawks have lost at home to an unranked team by double digits. The Bearcats have held in their victory a 15-3 in turnovers and outscored Kansas 48-34 in the second half. They had 11 ties, 12 score changes. Cincinnati had 12 three-pointers in the weekend's victory. Jalen Celestine had 14 points to his game on Saturday. He has his 8th double figure of the season, 37th of his career season high with 4 steals. Miller had the 20th double figure as he scored 18 points on Saturday of the season, 52nd of his career, season's best, 8 assists, 7 rebounds, and 2 steals. Mustafa Thiam, career high with 28 points, second 20th point of the year, 16th double figures scored, and Day Thomas 10 points in the second half, 14th double figures of the year. And Wes Miller has advanced his record overall 282-206. And with the Bearcats, he extends his record to 97-71. The Bearcats will be taking on Texas Tech on the road on Tuesday night. Tip-off is at 7 p.m. And you can catch the game on ESPN2. Man. All right, other things going around in the sports world. Got a chance to watch the men's basketball game, or hockey game, excuse me, not basketball. The men's USA hockey game. They competed for the gold medal back on Sunday morning, and they took on Canada, and it was a really good game, and it went into overtime, just like the USA women's game earlier last week. And they, thanks to the 24-year-old Jack Hughes, the 24-year-old Jack Hughes, the USA men's hockey team won gold in overtime as they beat Canada 2-1. A memorable moment. They ended a 46-year-old drought, and this was a really good game. A lot of people were taking to social media that they thought it was even better than the game against the Super Bowl, to be honest. Much more entertaining. I don't know about that, but that was something else. I'll tell you that. But congratulations to the USA men's hockey team for winning gold here back on Sunday and taking home the gold overall. And I wanted to actually look into that. Let me look here. Olympics. We have it here somewhere, right? Let's see if I can find it. I wanted to look. There we go. Final medal count. So we're ending off the medal counts here. Norway has a total of 41 medals this year. 18 of them in gold, 12 in silver, 11 in bronze. USA had 33, as they had 12 in gold, 12 in silver, and 9 in bronze. The Netherlands had 20. Italy had 30. But because they had less in silver, they had 14 in bronze, but Netherlands had 10 in gold, 7 in silver, and 3 in bronze, so they were kind of ranked higher. Canada was all the way down towards kind of in the middle of the group there. They had a total of 21 medalists, 5 in gold, 6 in silver, 10 in bronze. And, it just kind of marks off another great Olympics for the winter sports. Olympics, U.S. finishes with this most winter gold medals, best overall performance in 76 years. Wow. Over the course of 2 weeks. I don't know if it's just me getting older, but the Olympics is just becoming more intriguing to watch throughout the years. Can't wait to watch the Summer Olympics as well. But we'll be following that later on throughout the course of the year. All right, before we get into our wrestling conversations, we'd like to talk about croak voice. Talk about a pretty busy week we have coming up for Enlightened Studios. It's for their upcoming theater production called Grassroots. You could click on this link that will take you to the ticket page. Grassroots is presented by Enlightened Studios. Will be going on at the the Artsville Theater in Cincinnati, Ohio, from February 27th. I'd like to adjust the time here, or the days for you guys. February 27th through March 8th. You get your tickets. There are a total of 8 productions. I will be there. You could also come out and say hi to us. And just let's have a good time as the Enlightened Studios puts on a great performance for Black History Month. It's about a family who moves into an all-white neighborhood, and they deal with racism, they deal with drama, the truth, and neighborhood gossip. Especially dated back in the time frame. Now, what's interesting about this production, as we were getting ready for get this build up for the production coming up here later this week, is that they want people to get engaged. So they're asking those to dress out in the 1950s attire and get a chance to win prizes and enter yourself into raffles. There's going to be vendors, concessions. And it's going to be a great time. Get involved into the play. If you dress out to the play, you will be able to be a part of the play in a specific scene in the middle of the production. I can't wait to check it out, what they have. Grassroots, tickets still available. There's a total of 8 over the next 2 weekends, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we encourage you to come out. Like I said, I'll be there and say hi and let's chat it up and watch a great production by Enlightened Studios. All right. We're moving right along. You know, if this is a show that people are probably wondering, it's like, whoa, Justin, this isn't a smooth show. I tell you, I'll be honest with you, this is not. It's probably one of my worst shows I've put on so far. You know, I gotta apologize and just, you know, grab my teeth on this one. This is our first time going live again since it's been a few years actually since we've actually gone live. We've done recordings before. It doesn't work out the same. So, you know, I hope that as we improve and get, you know, we improve and grow, that we're able to have a smoother show. And really, it brings I think it tries to bring the best out of me, to be honest, because I am, you know, when I'm not doing a live stream, I could kind of just maybe put it into sections and I'm not really having to worry about responses or anything like that. But when I'm doing a live stream, it really does change the complexity of things. So, but I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm going to be busy all week. Tell you that. Let's get down into a SmackDown review. Last Friday, SmackDown was on Sci-Fi. I believe they returned back to USA this Friday thanks to the Winter Olympics that took place. But SmackDown was a pretty interesting show, if you ask me. We're on the road to WrestleMania. We have Elimination Chamber qualifying matches. And so let me just run through the match card and we'll have a conversation or two. So SmackDown opened up with Drew McIntyre taunting Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu. Both men wanting their hand and their piece at Drew McIntyre. And it was a false information given by Nick Aldis when he indicated that Drew McIntyre wasn't going to be there. As a matter of fact, Drew McIntyre had a suite up top and was going to watch the show. Wasn't going to miss a show as a champion. And let's remind you that Cody Rhodes is part of the men's Elimination Chamber match. Tama Tonga defeats Ilja Dragunov in the opening bout. Uncle Howdy ends up sending a message to Solo Sikoa, and basically telling him that, look, who are you and how good are you when I show up? And so Uncle Howdy tells Solo that he will show up by himself, and he's interested to see if Solo Sikoa would do the same. So here's that challenge, and we'll see how it gets responded. Jade Cargill announces that she will go to Raw this Monday to listen in to Liv Morgan's decision on who she's going to face at WrestleMania. Kiana James defeats Charlotte Flair and Nia Jax to qualify for the Women's Elimination Chamber match. Oba Femi defeats Kit Wilson. Tiffany Stratton defeats Alba Fari. Trick Williams defeat Damian Priest and Carmelo Hayes to qualify for the Men's Elimination Chamber match. Rhea Ripley defeats Julia via disqualification as Nia Jax and Lash Legend attacks Rhea. Io Sky comes out to save Rhea in that whole spew. And in the main event, Aleister Black defeats Randy Orton in singles competition thanks to an interference by Drew McIntyre, who attacks Randy Orton and assists Aleister Black in the victory. You know, I don't know. How do you honestly feel about Drew McIntyre's championship run? I honestly like it. I think this kind of bestows a champion who is more than just a champion. He knows that there's a target on his back. He knows that half the roster is out for his title. He knows what it's. He's been through it before. This is not new to Drew McIntyre. But he knows what he's capable of. He knows how good he is. And he's not going to allow anyone to trample over his title run. So what does he do? He stays 2 beats ahead of everybody. He says, I'm going to come to you. I'm going to pick your fight. And I'm going to create chaos. As you guys all figure out who's going to challenge me this Saturday Elimination Chamber, I'm going to make everyone's life a living hell, at least on SmackDown. He's doing that to Cody Rhodes. He's doing that to Jacob Fatu, although he's not involved. He's doing that to Randy Orton. I mean, Drew McIntyre, and this is how a champion should be, right? You have the WWE champion in the opening segment, and you have him ending the show. Although his roles are 2 completely different things at these times, he's creating carnage. And I like it. I mean, I hope you like it too, but I really do enjoy it. Where is it going to lead? I don't know. I still sit here today thinking, you know what? I think it's best that if Cody Rhodes wins the men's elimination chamber, but what is that early prediction? Okay, we got one more match tonight on Raw to seal up this elimination chamber for both the men and women's. Who do you guys have early on winning the elimination chamber? And right now, it's kind of hard not to say Cody Rhodes, because he is still someone who you put into this title picture. But could it be Randy Orton? Could it be now Trick Williams who qualified? That triple threat match there, right? You could kind of, and I guess I kind of went into this saying, you know, Carmelo Hayes, he's the U.S. champion. There's going to be other plans for him on heading into WrestleMania, defending that title. I kind of figured that he wouldn't be in the Elimination Chamber. It doesn't really make sense. We have other talent that could be pushed, just like Trick Williams, so to speak. So, I mean, I like that they involved him because you needed guys, but at the same time, I wasn't really banking that he was going to win. Fair enough. Damian Priest. Now, this was somebody that I wanted to see win. And the reason why is I don't see his role right now. Does this come back around where Damian gets involved into Carmelo Hayes? How is that usage of Damian Priest now heading into the road to WrestleMania? You know, he missed his opportunity at the Royal Rumble. You know, he is missing opportunities after opportunities, right? And I'm pulling Damian Priest out of the storyline because this is a similar storyline that we see each and every year, that someone wants that spotlight at WrestleMania. He is doing everything he can, but he's coming up short in every opportunity given. So where does his role fit at this year's WrestleMania? And we see this in different characters and different athletes over the past years. And I think, and I date this all the way back, to me, I date this all the way back to Shawn Michaels when he was desperate to have a WrestleMania match. And you see it time and time again. So Damian Priest just takes on this role. And I feel like he will get a WrestleMania match. To who, I don't know. And you talk about creating opportunities. You know, Charlotte Flair, Nia Jax, they've been there. They've done that. They've been in the Elimination Chamber before. And I think that's wonderful. To give that opportunity to Kiana James, whether or not she wins or not, this is a great experience for her growth as a character, for her build as a superstar. to get fans behind her, because this Elimination Chamber that we talk about that's coming up this week, that cage is unforgiving. That pod, those cells are meant to hurt. And there's a different mentality. This isn't walking into a steel cage. This isn't walking into a Hell in a Cell or no disqualification. There is zero resilience when it comes down to being thrown out these cages, when it comes down to be thrown out these pods or jumping high and taking these risks. And so it creates these opportunities like Trick Williams, who can fly, and hey, what can we do to elevate his character? Same thing for Kiana James. And then, that's just the last point, right? Jade Cargill comes over to Raw tonight. I'm ready to make that decision. I appreciate the WWE on waiting at least until the week of Elimination Chamber to say, all right, Liv Morgan's going to announce who she's going to face. And it's either going to be Stephanie Valkyr or it's going to be Jade Cargill. Both extremely tough opponents. If you ask me, I think her favorite is Stephanie Valkyr. My other take to it, and I think we go back around to this, is going to disclose, we're sitting here at the end of February now. We're less than 2 months away from WrestleMania. And there's still only one match to the card that's confirmed. And that is Roman Reigns taking on CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. And by the way, we haven't realistically seen much since the announcement, which is fine. But how is this build-up going to continue? Well, we're certain that the champions are going to defend their titles. We're going to learn 2 more confirmed matches, if not 3 more confirmed matches by the end of this week, right? We should learn and confirm the second match of the WrestleMania card, and that's Liv Morgan by tonight. We should learn 2 more matches by Saturday as with the men and women's Elimination Chamber match. Raw is tonight at State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia, as Liv Morgan will make her decision, and so we'll wait on that. If you ask me, I say Stephanie Valkyr. Who do you guys think Liv Morgan will choose to face at this year's WrestleMania? Leave a comment down below. I'll put up a post on Facebook and on Twitter. Also, they will be making a tribute to AJ Styles. Brock Lesnar is appeared to be back. I feel like Brock Lesnar has a role at this year's WrestleMania. I kind of asked this question a couple of weeks ago. If Brock Lesnar has a WrestleMania match, who is it going to be with? And a lot of people from that post responded as Oba Femi. And I still oppose. We had that amazing face-off at the Royal Rumble that I just want to see line up and have a little bit more. But it seems like Oba Femi is on SmackDown, which kind of retells me back around to possibly seeing Brock and Gunther at WrestleMania. Yes, I think the match will be great. And I feel it will be great because in the perspective of Gunther could use a match like this to get over and win. And if you retire Brock Lesnar, which I'm not ready, I guess I'm not ready for anything, but retire Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, that's a possibility. It is a storyline. I can see the AJ Styles tribute and the Brock Lesnar appearance and the Gunther in all one segment. So what do you guys think of that? Does Brock Lesnar showing up to here tonight on Raw kind of warrant that Gunther challenge of being this Gunther and Brock at WrestleMania? Which I think would be an incredible match to see. Maxine Dupree takes on Natty in single competition. We also have our final triple threat matches for the qualifying elimination chambers, as Raquel Rodriguez will take on Io Sky and Kairi Sane. For Raquel, she had a missed opportunity against Stephanie Valkyr earlier this month. She has an opportunity to punch her ticket again. She has to win this triple threat match. in order to do so. And then on the men's side, Bronson Reed takes on Jey Uso and the original El Grande Americano. Now, I know this is Jey Uso's opportunity, but let's be honest. I'd like to honestly see El Grande Americano be in that Elimination Chamber match. And maybe it doesn't seem ideal for him maybe winning the match. I feel like it's a better name, and honestly. So who do you guys think will win these final Elimination Chamber matches? Let me know down in the comments today. We got Raw kicking off on Netflix tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we should be back tomorrow to be able to review it. So, man, we got through the hour. It was a little difficult, trust me, but we were able to manage, and it will get better. We will clean things up. I do apologize. It's not spick and span like maybe some people anticipate it for, but I still feel that this is a better concept and a better design to go down that I want to utilize, especially since I have Riverside, that we could give you on a daily Monday through Friday basis at noon. So we'll just talk sports. Tomorrow we will recap Raw and let you know all of what have happened. Tomorrow we plan on also getting you guys ready for baseball as the Kansas City Royals are set to take on the Cincinnati Reds in spring training action. We got Bearcats baseball as they have the home opener against Bowling Green. We also have Cincinnati basketball as they take on Texas Tech on the road tomorrow night. And so we have plenty of sports going around, and then we'll get you caught up on any sports stories we have not covered yet. But remember to get your tickets for Grassroots. Click on this link on the screen, and it'll take you to the ticket page. Grassroots, February 27th through March 8th at the Artsville Theater in Cincinnati, Ohio. That is all the time I have for you guys today. I hope everyone enjoyed today's video. Please let me know. Give me your feedback. I love your feedback. Good, bad. Give me beneficial feedback. That's what I want. I want feedback that I can help improve. If you guys have used our Riverside before, let me know unique tools that I could help make my show easier to produce as well as hold. But yeah, leave a comment down below if you want to be a future guest on our show. Let's talk. You can find us on our audio platforms. We're on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spreaker. Thanks to Spreaker. And then also you could check us out on our social media pages. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and more. If we're not on there, let us know. We'll try to get on there. But we will be back again tomorrow, noontime. I mentioned the only thing that we can't, if we aren't live, is for two reasons. One, we don't have internet service. Or two, we've had maintenance coming in, right? I can tell you that. Otherwise, we will be live. If not, we will get a recording in and try to get you a video upload. If not, you could guarantee us on an audio probably immediately following. So I'm going to say give me an hour, and then we will have the audio up here on our audio platform. So, but that is all the time I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for tuning in, and until tomorrow, you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.